Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of Askgufish. It's been an eventful week. There's been some sick metal releases. Rob Scallon's new Schecters just dropped. Gibson versus Dean lawsuit verdict yesterday? Was that yesterday? Jury found Dean guilty of trademark infringement and astoundingly counterfeiting. The jury also found that Gibson's delay in asserting those trademark rights inexcusable though. I mean, Dean's been producing the V, they've been producing the Dean Z since 1976. That's 46 years for anyone counting. Obviously everything's gonna be appealed, but what does this mean for the future of the Dean Z, the Dean V? If they lose those as well as the Pantera models, what else does Dean make? And what kind of precedents does this set for future related cases in the US? Who knows? Both companies are claiming victory, so I guess everyone's happy. No, everyone is definitely not happy. Evan Rubinson, CEO of Dean, tweeted that there will be a full interview about the trial, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. In the meantime, you had questions, let's answer them. Make sure to join our Discord server, that's where I pulled the questions from first. Hit the like button or I won't like you very much, and let's jump into them. Sputum Slurp asks, thoughts on Rob Scallon's signature models? Ozzy Richmond also asked about them, but you were a bit late to the punch. Unlucky, my friend. But yeah, we talked about these in February. That's when he started teasing new Schecter signature models. And Rob Scallon is just one of my favorite OG music YouTubers. If you've somehow never heard of him, he's known for just doing ridiculous music. Back in the day, it was metal on a harp, on a theremin, on a shovel. Jazz is still one of my favorites. He's also taken us inside of a church organ to see how that works, and it's insane. Like, the instrument is the entire building. What the fuck? Anyways, last info we had about guitars, he just left Chapman after making that signature 7-string with the Floyd. Then he did the Scott Taylor nonsense, his own fake guitar brand, building a guitar from scratch with no experience, with a fixed scale length and some angled frets and extra fret wire aimed at your eye. He did a promo thing with GIBSON, basically he was having fun being newly single and ready to mingle guitar-wise. But he'd also, in small parts, started showing off Schecters that looked suspiciously like his Chapmans in videos. Now he's made it official, his proper Schecter signatures have just dropped. Let's talk about them. So he's got 3 new satin finished models, a 6-string C1, a 25.5 to 26.25 C7 multi-scale, and a 25.5 to 27-inch C8 multi-scale. All of them are available in left-handed, by the way. Schecter again earning its reputation as a lefty ally. And if you're not familiar with multi-scales, by the way, the point of them is you can get a more balanced string tension across the instrument. So you get nice, tight, low notes on the bass strings, and then the higher strings still feel like playing a normal guitar. That way you don't get any strings that are too tight or too floppy, solves a lot of intonation and pitch drift issues, especially on those bass strings. That's really where it works best on extended range guitars. That baritone scale length on the bass strings is super nice. Actually, that's how you can kind of think about it, a hybrid baritone normal scale length guitar. And it may look bizarre, but actually playing them, in my experience, it feels really natural. The only thing that takes a little bit of an adjustment is, you know, like open chords. But anyways, back to the Scallon Swamp Ash bodies, mahogany neck through with carbon fiber reinforcement, ebony fingerboards, 24 jumbo frets. Interestingly, all the fingerboard radii are different, 14-inch on the 6-string, 16-inch on the 7, 20-inch on the 8. Hipshot bridge, hipshot locking tuners, Graphtec nuts. I mean, these kind of remind me of Dave Mustaine's Silver V's in a way, in that they're very much Rob Scallon's guitars, but made by a different company, and now multi-scale. So maybe different guitars, but still very much Rob Scallon. And I love that he's kept the black with mahogany neck through. It looks so good, so much better than his natural signatures that looked a little too close to furniture for my liking. And last time we saw them, I said that the headstock looked suspiciously like another guitar's headstock. Very interesting, Rob. I also said that because Rob isn't exactly a gear guy, the pickups would be Schecter Diamond humbuckers, rather than anything third-party name brand. And I was correct, they come with the Schecter Diamond 78 in the neck, Diamond 78 Special in the bridge. My guess for price was $1,200, and I was close. The C1 is $12.99, the C7 is $14.99, and the C8 is $15.99. $50 more for each lefty version. In my defense, inflation. I also hadn't expected Schecter to match his Chapman's essentially spec for spec. It makes sense, since that is what he likes to play, but also the quality of generic import hardware has improved so much, and Indonesian factories have gotten so good at making guitars. Plus, again, since he's not really much of a gear guy, I had thought that maybe they'd change some things to make it more affordable. Listen, I love Hipshot. Hipshot is S tier, but they're also not cheap, so I'd expected Schecter locking tuners, for example, got that prediction wrong. Another interesting thing, these are made at World Music in South Korea, literally the same factory as his old signatures. Given how similar a lot of the specs are, the hip shot, the swamp ash, the mahogany neck through, I would guess one of the main reasons he switched from Chapman to Schecter was distribution. Larger companies, they've got more money. They've got more pull with the factories, more pull with the distributors. Schecter is a massive company with so much distribution experience, right? Like, they even lend their experience to other brands. They distribute Wild Audio. You can find their guitars anywhere. Sam Ash, Guitar Center, Sweetwater. This is a good deal for Rob Scallon, and you love to see it. We go way back. I was taken at NAMM 2017. Let's be real, he has no recollection of that picture. He definitely does not remember this moment. I do, though. Come on, Rob, old buddy, old pal. Let's make a video. But yeah, so I think these are cool. You don't see many mahogany neck through guitars, and multi-scale isn't as popular anymore, so these multi-Scallons are kind of cool. Rob's always had an affinity for extended range guitars that aren't necessarily built for metal. Like, one of his most famous songs, Anchor, is a clean 8-string guitar piece. And just as a fan, I'm happy for Rob. All those early 7-string videos, 8-string videos, 9-string videos from 10 years ago, they were all Schecter omens. He's come full circle. That's awesome. He gets to see his own signature Schecters at a Guitar Center. Can you imagine you walk into a Guitar Center and you see your own signature? That must be unreal. It's just really nice to see, and I'm glad he was able to do something in his own style and ditch the abalone on those omens he used to play. As for price, I mean, everything's so expensive now. They really aren't that much more expensive than the Silver Mountain series, though, and given the hardware on it, the addition of neck through, the Scallon tax on these aren't too bad. Personally, I think stainless steel frets would have made these even better, but since that's not what he plays, it wouldn't have made sense. And as I said, these are kind of guitars with modern specs, modern playability, but not necessarily just for metal. And a lot of non-metal players don't like how cold stainless steel frets sound. That's the main reason that my luthier Wendell, he'll put them on mine because I pay him to, but he will not put stainless steel frets on his own guitars. He doesn't like the way that they sound or the way that they feel. Anyways, getting sidetracked again. So I think these are really interesting, especially the not necessarily for metal multi-scales, although I obviously do want to see how they do for metal. But here's where I'll throw it to you. What do you think of Rob Scallon's new signatures? Do you like them? Not so much? Do you think they're an improvement over his previous Chapmans? And do you want to see a demo on the channel? If so, which one? May or may not have already reached out to Schecter about the C8. 8 strings are just so wild, man. There's so many notes. It's a crazy playing experience. It inspires some wild stuff. Speaking of wild stuff, though, the sponsor of today's video, ZBiotics. Okay, that was pretty lame, but the sponsor is actually pretty wild. Check this out. So ZBiotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic drink scientifically engineered to eliminate alcohol's terrible morning after effects. Thank God for science. So here's how it works. Whether you're pounding shots or getting some chill brews with the boys, a byproduct of that alcohol is a toxin called acetaldehyde. So what these absolute heroes have done is use the power of science to create a probiotic that you take before you start drinking. And it works throughout the night or day, no judgment, by producing an enzyme that breaks acetaldehyde down in your stomach. So it's kind of like an extra liver in your gut. Combine this with proper sleep and hydration, and you're not comatose on the couch, but ready to make the most of the next day. You can see some of the vials they sent me are already empty. Shiv and I have been doing some very responsible experimentation, putting ZBiotics to the test, and ZBiotics passed. I'm really susceptible to the next day effects of drinking, but I felt great the morning after. It was crazy. I'm sold. I'm done wasting time on recovery days. Live shows are back, wedding season's right around the corner, and this is something that's going to be very, very helpful. So if you want to see why so many people trust ZBiotics on fun nights without giving up the next day, if you use my link zbiotics.com/Agufish, you'll get 15% off by using my code Agufish. There's also a 100% money back guarantee, so trying it out is kind of a no-brainer. The link will also be in the description. Of course, clicking it helps support the channel by letting you know that I sent you, although I have a feeling that this is one that quite a lot of you will be interested in. But guys, especially if you're really susceptible to the negative effects of alcohol like I am, it's so worth it. But in the meantime, while you're checking that out, let's jump into your next question. Professional Virgin to Revengeance asks, how safe do you feel going into the Champions League final knowing that Karim Goatsima basically becomes a goal-scoring machine in extra time? I don't want to talk about it. All I'm going to say is that ZBiotics was very helpful as I'm recording this today. Not a fan of Fender, except for the Jim Root SIGs, but that Meteora looks pretty damn cool, and it's silver burst, which makes it even better. Porque no los dos, my friend. Jim Root does have some new signatures on the way, potentially a run of Meteoras? Agreed though, Silver Burst is very cool. And if you're not familiar with the Meteora, it's Fender's newest body style. It's a smaller offset body. I just unboxed one in Silver Burst actually. It's part of the new Player Plus series now after having 2 limited runs in the Parallel Universe and Alternate Reality series. Jim Root obviously is known for crushing Slipknot riffs, but he's actually a really versatile player as well, and he really likes the original with the tele pickup configuration, so they've actually made him a custom Meteora with his signature specs. This one comes from, I guess it's his Guitar Tech's Instagram, I don't really know, but it's got a satin body, less rounded edges, 9-volt battery cavity, really subtle rounded heel, and then they've thrown on the neck from his V4 Jazzmaster on it, bound ebony board with block inlays, locking tuners his signature EMG Demon pickups, single volume and 3-way with a hardtail bridge. Dude, so honestly, the Meteora in certain colors with its small offset body looks kinda odd, but in Silver Burst and in Satin Black as a metal guitar, freaking awesome. The latter almost looks like a mini version of his American Jazzmaster signature. I'm almost surprised he hasn't chucked a Floyd Rose on it though. That's because he's been really into those lately. Because speaking of his American Jazzmaster, he had one made with a Floyd Rose. He's been playing that one for a while. I like this comment on the post. The purists kept complaining Jim's Jazzmaster needed a trem, so there we go. Exactly, dude. Something about it looks so wrong, but also so right. Now, while that's probably a custom one-off, he's also been playing Charvels a ton. He used to play them a long time ago. I'm talking pre-Fender signatures, so pre-2007, that's when the Jim Root Telecaster was released. Even in the Before I Forget video, he's using a Charvel. And it's kind of old news now, but if you haven't seen it, he's been teasing the crap out of 2 Charvel signature model prototypes. And kind of like with Scallon, it's a little heartwarming to see him return to his roots. So I don't think we've talked about them yet, but the 2 T's Charvels, one in satin black with a maple fingerboard, the other in satin white with an ebony fingerboard. Both with Floyd Rose's single volume 3-way pickup selector and direct mounted EMG Demon pickups. Dude, that white Charvel with the ebony board, there's just something about it that's so nice. It looks amazing. It's clean, there's a lot of spec there without being overindulgent. And I mean, I'm not a Floyd person by any means, but I guess if I had a tech to do all the maintenance like Jim Root does, yeah, I'd put some on my guitars too. And I guess that's how they'll justify the Charvels existing alongside the hardtail Fender Strat, which is still in production. I love Jim Root's signatures, man. Metal takes on classic Fender shapes, awesome. And man, Charvel is making moves this year, right? You've got Sean Long's signature, which Jim Root actually really likes, by the way. So much so he's even gone out of his way to get some yellow EMGs put into one of his own guitars. But Charvel Jim Root signatures, the guy is metal royalty. I still think his Jazzmasters are the coolest, but the Charvels make a lot of sense given what he's enjoying playing right now. And it's huge for Charvel. And hey, maybe Charvel will make his Floyd-equipped Jazzmaster a real thing. Direct-mounted pickups and everything. Basically, these Charvels, but in Jazzmaster form. That'd be really sick. Probably never happening. I've never seen Charvel make a Jazzmaster, but one can hope. Just like it's been, I don't know, over 10 years at this point, we're still hoping for a production run of the sandblasted Jazzmaster. Fender, please. Charvel, Jackson, anybody just do it. But anyways, getting sidetracked a lot in this video. What do you think of Jim Root's new Charvels? What do you think about a Metal Specs Meteora? And when they drop, do you want to see a demo of one of Jim Root's Charvels on the channel? Any and all thoughts? Let me know down below. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Serpent or Imposter Tane Expert asks, do you believe in Canadians? Are they real? Now, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've been led to believe that Andrew Baina is real, although I've never met him in real life, so I don't know, jury's still out. Can't confirm one way or the other, is what I'm saying. Nah, I actually found out just last year that I'm technically a Canadian citizen. They just hand out citizenships if one of your parents was born there. So I'm drinking coffee out of this mug. And could you imagine? Finds out they're technically a Canadian citizen, makes it their entire personality. Yeah, so I just have to pay Canada for them to officially declare it. That doesn't sound real, like they just hand out citizenships to anyone for money. Yeah, Canada's not real. Titan BP, the bass dude, asks, when's the last time you left the house? Come on, man, I leave the house every day to walk Pringle. Then I come straight back to Frida and the Les Pauls. Hey, keep this on your radar though. We might have just gotten our first glimpse at a new model in Kirk Hammett's Gibson collection. This one comes from Cesar G's Instagram again. It's an updated metal version of the Gibson Moderne. Right, like whether it's Lizzie Hale's Explorebird or the absolutely atrocious but also extremely bonkers Adam Jones Reverse Silverburst V, complete with the Reverse V headstock. God, it's so ugly, but if you want to keep up with what Gibson is doing for future models, Cesar's Instagram is the place to be. So the Gibson Moderne, it's a unique looking one for sure. It was originally designed in the 50s alongside the Explorer and the Flying V in that style, but it was kind of the ugly stepsister in that no one really wanted it at the time. It was released much later in 1982 with a production run that only lasted a year, but now they're a highly sought after cult classic. The hypothetical original 1958 prototype is even referred to by collectors as the mythical great white whale because no authenticated examples even exist. But back to this new Kirk Hammett model, it uses the Moderne shape, but of course in black because, well, metal. Unclear what pickups he's using, definitely not his EMG bone breakers, probably hot Gibson humbuckers of some kind. They've added a Floyd Rose, and they've also changed it to the Explorer's headstock. Thank goodness the Gumby headstock on the original Moderne is just the worst. I'm convinced that's why they didn't sell very well. But honestly, I'm not sure that there's any saving the Moderne, by which I mean I know some people love the wacky shapes, and that's cool, but if you're not a fan of the Moderne already, I don't see this winning anyone over. That being said, never underestimate the power of Metallica. Personally though, if I'm gonna fork out the at least $2,800 this is gonna be, I'm definitely getting the Purple Sparkle V instead. If they make it an affordable Epiphone though, might be tempting just to try out. Anyways, just something to keep on your radar. They don't even know if this is going into production, but what do you think? And now, of course, it's time for the segment you've all been waiting for. It's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. Seriously, your playing is really bad and you do not review crap like Epiphones. Thanks, you're welcome. What I love about these comments, and you see them all the time, they clearly don't know anything about what they're talking about, and in all likelihood, probably can't play for good. We're getting to the end of the video now, so if for some reason you haven't gotten your fix of the channel, in case you missed it, since last episode I've uploaded a couple of short Guitar of the Day episodes, essentially quick sub 1 minute breakdowns of some of the guitars in preparation for the full gear collection video. This week it was mini breakdowns of the PRS SE Standard 2408 and the Fender Meteora Player Plus. Interestingly, these seem to do better on Instagram and even better on TikTok than YouTube. The algorithm on YouTube is all sorts of bizarre with shorts content, so make sure to follow over there if they are your platform of choice. And first full guitar demo in a while, it seems. Checked out a Harmony Jupiter, a really interesting, upgraded, old school style single cut. Harmony is technically one of the oldest American brands, predating Fender, predating Gibson, predating electricity even. Not gonna lie, there were some ugly bits about the guitar, but I've genuinely never played anything like the Jupiter, and it sounds surprisingly brutal in a metal context. And if you missed the last Askgufish episode, we talked about new Gibson signatures, including a LZZY HALE collection, Adam Jones Epiphone predictions, and the 2022 Chapman lineup, specifically the newly relaunched ML2 Pro. Loved the 2017 version. Not really sure how I feel about the new one. Link to all those in the cards and in the description for you to check out. But for now, that's all I've got for you this week. Shout out to all my wonderful patrons for making this and all the other content possible. Every one of you is amazing. We're trying to make the move to 4K, make the videos extra crispy for you guys, and we need your help to do it. So if you want to support the channel, consider joining the Patreon community for bonus extras. For now though, social media, Discord, and affiliate links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.